want to welcome you all to this media announcement to start the 2018 Cayman Invitational Under-15 Youth Football Cup. I'm here today representing the Minister for Education, Youth, Sports, Agriculture and Lands, the Honourable Juliana O'Connor Connolly, who is unable to be here as she has obligations in Cabinet. I'd like to introduce the panel. First of all, Councillor for Tourism, Mr. David White, CEO of Cayman Airways, Mr. Fabian Worms, Mr. Mervyn Smith of the West Bay Sports Foundation. I want to welcome John Bello from DC United, and Mr. Armando Ebanks, Treasurer of the Cayman Islands Football Association. I'll make some brief remarks on behalf of Minister O'Connor Connolly, after which each member of the panel will speak, and then there'll be questions after. Minister O'Connor Connolly looks forward to this event, as it is not only an opportunity to showcase Grand Cayman, but also Cayman Brac will get to shine and host a group of teams. This is a great occasion for children for our islands to connect and interact with fellow footballers from other countries. The Minister is proud to know that this tournament has consistently enjoyed financial support from the government throughout the years, as well as private corporate sponsorship, which has allowed it to become the successful tournament that it is today. With the 8 teams competing, we believe this is going to be a thrilling few days of football, where our players will face top competition from Jamaica, Cuba and the United States. Minister O'Connor Connolly wants to encourage us as a country to come out and support the teams and show our commitment to youth talent development. It is through these experiences that children learn life lessons that will stick with them and shape their adult life. And on behalf of the Minister, we wish all best of luck and thank all the organizers for this excellent youth development opportunity. Thank you and God bless on behalf of the Minister. We'd now like to invite, if I might, the Councillor for Tourism, Mr. David White, to bring his remarks.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here on behalf of the Deputy Premier, the Honourable Mose Kirkconnell, who is in Cabinet and unfortunately cannot join us at this time. I'm very pleased that the Cayman Islands has once again been afforded the privilege of hosting the Cayman Airways Invitational Youth Football Cup for the 5th year. This year's event includes impressive 8 teams from 4 countries for 5 days of games. Events like this are an important part of this government's sports tourism initiative, which is why it receives widespread support from both the tourism and sports ministries. On behalf of the Ministry of Tourism, I'm excited to welcome the young players from the United States, Cuba, and Jamaica, who will join our very own talented under-15 squad from the Cayman Islands. I am sure that all of these young players are looking forward to the friendly competition and have their hearts set on winning the cup, which signifies their team is the best of the best. Sports tourism is an essential niche market within our island's diverse tourism portfolio. The Ministry is keenly aware of the benefits gained from sports tourism and the positive effect it has on the players, the community, and on our wider economy. Consequently, we are pleased to have the opportunity to provide support to events such as this, especially when they are locally organized and bring other teams and visitors to our shores. I am also very pleased that the players will have the opportunity, as Mr. Francis says, to utilize the newly upgraded facilities at the Cayman Brac Sports Complex. Having matches played there not only fulfills the desired vision for the complex, but will allow residents on the Brac to benefit from and also be part of this outstanding tournament. Sports tourism is a rapidly growing sector of the industry, and over the long term, the prestige of hosting these events, these types of tournaments on our shores, helps to build awareness of the Cayman Islands as a sports tourism destination. Sporting events also afford us the opportunity to showcase our natural talent, our natural beauty, and spirit of Cayman kindness to the many fans and spectators who have traveled here especially for these events. I know that rain or shine, our visitors and residents alike are looking forward to enjoying the fun and excitement that is sure to be part of all these matches. This event would not be possible without many helping hands. I would like to extend my personal thanks to the West Bay Sports Foundation for organizing this tournament, particularly to Mervyn Smith and Arden Cheeky Rivers. I also gratefully recognize and acknowledge the extensive lists of sponsors that have generously stepped up and contributed to the hosting of this event. Finally, I would like to say a special thank you to all of the volunteers, parents, coaches, fans, and spectators who come together to make this an incredible event year after year. I encourage everyone to come out and cheer on the visiting teams, but especially to support our own young men who have been working very hard in preparation for this tournament. I wish the tournament organizers every success, and I wish all the players a safe and an enjoyable competitive tournament. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor White. As you would have heard, Cayman Airways has been a big part of this tournament and its growth over the years. And so it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Fabian Worms to bring some remarks on behalf of Cayman Airways.
Thank you. Morning. I'd like to congratulate the West Bay Sports Foundation on what's now the fifth tournament. Cayman Airways has been involved with this tournament from the beginning as the title sponsor. We have worked with the ministry responsible for tourism and the ministry responsible for sport to help develop this tournament. And it got to the point where after last year and the year before, we actually had two different tournaments for two different age groups, under 15 and under 13. And I think the under 15 tournament has built a solid enough foundation now that it can continue on without being branded as the Cayman Airways under 15 tournament, hence why it's branded the Cayman Islands Invitational Tournament this year. But we're happy to still be playing the same role that we've always played, which is to provide air transportation in and out for the players, and also to the sister islands, because half of the games are being played in the BRAC. So we're very, very happy about that. We look forward to continuing to work with West Bay Sports Foundation. You guys have done an awesome job, and wish you all the best for the tournament.
Thank you very much, Mr. Worms. I'd now like to invite our special guest from DC United, Mr. John Bello. I'm not sure of the exact capacity, but if you would bring us your remarks, please.
Yeah, no, so my role at the club is the U15 head coach for our academy, but also the director of youth scouting for our club. So I'm responsible for a team of about 10 scouts that identifies talent within our region up in Washington, D.C. So first off, I think we're grateful to be back here for the third consecutive year at the Cayman Youth Cup. We've always really enjoyed this event and the hospitality that the island has shown to us. The kids are incredibly excited to be here. So thank you again for inviting us down. Thank you for Cayman Airways for sponsoring the flights for us. And then for sure, West Bay Sports Foundation and Arden Rivers and Marvin for the organization and coordinating everything for us to get here. I think, as you mentioned earlier, this is an invaluable experience for our players to experience international competition at this stage. And the level of interest from the people in Cayman is something that our kids don't experience back home. So this is quite a unique event for us to participate in, and we wish all the teams the best. And thanks for putting us in the group with the Cayman U15 national team. We're really looking forward to that game.
Thank you very much, John. And finally, but not least, the tournament also is supported strongly by the Cayman Islands Football Association, the governing body of the sport, and I'd invite Treasurer Mr. Armando Ebanks to say a few words.
Thank you, Joel. It is indeed a pleasure for us to once again be involved in this tournament. We see this as a pivotal tournament within the youth development here in the Cayman Islands, and we're happy to be involved in the process to contribute logistical support, also financial support. And this year we're especially delighted that we have our under 15 national team competing in the actual tournament. So this will give our young local players on the national level an opportunity to not only develop but showcase their talent. And we're encouraging all of the Cayman Islands to come out and to support these games. We want to continue to commend the government of the Cayman Islands, as well as Cayman Airways, and last but not least, the West Bay Sports Foundation for once again putting this tournament to showcase local football. For us, we continue to see this as an opportunity to develop and grow the sport in Cayman as a governing body. And this year we have stepped up our financial support, and we expect to continue our financial support going forward. So we're delighted to be a part of this invitational tournament.
Thank you very much. I think that concludes the prepared statements and other remarks from the panel. If there's anybody who has any questions, feel free to ask them.
All right, good afternoon. I'm the only one here, Jordan Arbanese, Cayman 27. Mervin, I just have a quick question to start off. We haven't had the best weather last few weeks, so any contingency plan if for some reason the weather doesn't cooperate? Have you guys thought about that? Because Mother Nature has not been kind the last few weeks, unfortunately.
People pray. That's the quick answer. But no, we're hoping for, and I think the weather is turning now, so we're hoping for better weather. But so having said that, the tournament actually starts this afternoon, and all indications are maybe most of the rains pass. So, but having said that, football games played in conditions, outside of lightning and snow, the games go on. So, because this is the climate that we're in here now, and it also provides another opportunity to get to that level where things may be not be in your favor, because here in Cayman, we have natural sunshine for most of the year, but testing your skills in different conditions necessary to against high level competition. Well, Cayman Islands are the 15 national teams going into a tournament in a month and a half time. Whatever the conditions are outside of there being a dangerous situation, they'll have to play and perform. So, but we're hoping for good weather, yes.
Joel, just a quick question. You mentioned obviously the tournaments in the BRAC, the ministers from the BRAC. Is this perhaps something where there could be more sports in the BRAC maybe in the future? Is this a good first step perhaps to bringing more sports to Cayman BRAC, or any thoughts from the ministry regarding sports in the Cayman BRAC?
Well, I think maybe Councillor White might have some comments to make on that, but it is my understanding, yes, that there are intentions of growing sports on the BRAC. We face particular challenges on Grand Cayman in terms of finding adequate competition for the development of our young players. That problem is even more exacerbated on the BRAC, where the numbers are that much smaller. So any competition like this, where the ministry can support taking a group to the BRAC, first of all, is going to provide the opportunity for young people to face competition in the BRAC, and it also provides an activity that even those who do not participate in football will now have a wholesome activity that they can go to partake in as spectators and so on. But I'm sure Councillor for Tourism would have some thoughts on the tourism aspect of it. But certainly for the youth development aspect, it is key for sports on the BRAC.
And just a quick follow-up before we go to David. I know they have the sports complex coming in the BRAC. Is there an update kind of like when that's going to be done, maybe?
I cannot give you an update at this present time. It is probably better placed with district admin at the moment.
All right. David, just quick thoughts on tourism in the BRAC, perhaps retaining to sports?
Well, both ministries that I'm involved in, sports and tourism, are under two BRACers, the Honourable Juliana O'Connor Connolly and the Honourable Mose Kirkconnell. So I know the BRAC will not get left out, especially with Ventisha as the PA she pushes to. But I know that we've been over there, we've done tours of the sites and the swimming pool. They have plans for that, which will be shortly finished and open. And I know that all the plans that they have for, especially like now, the football, the ministers want to involve the BRAC into everything. So I know that sports for the BRAC and tourism have a big future in the BRAC, with the two ministers we have.
Any chatter within the ministry of when the facility is going to be done at all, or have you heard anything, or in the BRAC?
not finalized. I've heard from the people involved in who are doing it that they're hoping for a certain time, but I haven't heard anything from the ministry.
And if I could, again, I'd like to thank everyone for their involvement. It wouldn't be possible without the involvement of everyone, from the government, the private sector, the visiting teams, coaches, Cayman Airways. No one is to be left out. The foundation, the West Bay Sports Foundation, when we talked about it, Art and myself, about getting involved in doing something in football after retirement, it became one of those things where do we focus? And we wanted to focus primarily at the youth level, because we thought that the development of our players were lacking in the aspects of competition, facing the competition, and growing up. What I saw a lot of was attitude. The attitude amongst players that if they got their name mentioned in media, or they got their picture taken and put on the front page of one of the newspapers, then they had made it, they had arrived. So we wanted to change that, because looking at the talent base, our talent was very good. So over the years, the foundation's been able to facilitate, like I said, with everyone involved. I'd like an opportunity to mention sponsors a bit later too, but with everyone involved for this to happen. The roles that everyone plays allows for what's happening here today to happen, for this to be the 5th time around. So, from the West Bay Sports Foundation, I speak, and I just want to convey that to everyone here on the platform, as well as everyone here in the Cayman Islands. This is what's happening as a result of your efforts.
Actually, I have a question for Fabian. You're probably one of the more popular guys when it comes to someone putting a tournament on. You probably have a lot of people reaching out to Cayman Airways, and you guys have partnered with the U13s and the U15s. Obviously there's a decision that goes into who Cayman Airways puts their support behind. So, there's probably a few other tournaments down the road that probably might think, oh, maybe we'll reach out to Cayman Airways. So what differentiates this tournament from other, organizers, local organizing bodies? They want to reach out to you. Why do you choose to partner with youth football? What is the deciding factor?
This tournament is actually pretty special because it had its genesis actually with Cayman Airways, in that maybe in about 2009, we looked at the business we're in, which is we're an airline and we're a part of the tourism industry, part of the tourism infrastructure. And it was very common for us to get requests for sponsorships for teams to go overseas. And it was always youths. And they would be attending these tournaments, football tournaments, baseball, hockey. And what's happening is, we said we need to find a way to, when they go away as ambassadors for the Cayman Islands and they make their connections, we need to find a way to bring some of this home to Cayman, because obviously we will benefit as an airline and the tourism industry benefits. There's a huge economic impact that comes with this. Just imagine in Cayman Brac right now, there's 100+ people in Cayman Brac that are essentially tourists. They're visiting, and they have to be fed, they have to eat, they have to be transported. So there's an economic contribution. So we actually wanted to have our own tournament, and we worked with various entities before West Bay Foundation actually stepped up and made it a proud reality for us. And they've grown it now to where it's yours. We made our investment to grow the sports tourism aspect. Now with the under-13s, we're still keeping our name on that tournament. And that's because that's the age group that will bring more family with them. So, the 15-year-olds, they'll come with a coach, maybe a few other visitors, but the under-13s tend to bring their whole families with them and make it a vacation, and that's what we're into. So if there are other entities out there that would like to put on some sort of tournament where it fits that mold, where it's good for sports tourism, we're willing to invest in it and put some, as long as we have the seats. The timing of the tournament is important as well. And the organizers have worked to time the tournament at a point in the year when we actually have the seats to provide. So where Cayman Airways is not losing anything, So that's basically the model.
With just a follow-up on sports tourism. So there's never been more direct flights to American cities using Cayman Airways now. Like when you guys were conceptualizing that, did you kind of think about sports tourism? Because obviously
Yes.
tourism has never been higher in Cayman,
Yeah.
and I mean people
Yeah.
are always looking for something to do, and sports
Yeah.
is a big part of that. So can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that process? Because obviously it's never been bigger now.
100% we thought about it. The initial vision for the tournament was that there'd be a team from each of our gateways. We have teams now that are not from our gateways, but they're close enough, and they do we do facilitate travel for them ultimately from one of our gateways. So they'll find themselves maybe from San Antonio to Miami, and then that sort of thing. But that was the initial concept. It's all about growing business for the airline and for the country.
I'm good. All right, yeah. What's that?
Okay. That's it for the questions. Then I want to thank you all for attending. And once again, on behalf of my minister, the Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly, thanks for attending, and we wish everyone a successful 2018 tournament.